Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. Now, we still have a lot of stuff to cover in in this current week. It's going to be very difficult to have to go over all of this because there's just so much going on, but I will do my best to do it. So what we have here is we have a few Democrats really just really messing up. They say that Trump would be cheating, or they say we don't cheat or whatever. But we've seen time and time again to where Democrats have been cheating or have allegedly been cheating and changing the ballot boxes and stuff like that, and nothing's being done. Well, things are finally being done here, and it's good to see. It's good to see. So what we have with this here is this from the Federalist saying, three Pennsylvania officials who cheated in an election get prison time. One is still in office. This was dropped on June 30th. The actual report when this was dropped was June 26th. So nobody was talking about this, which is interesting. It says in Pennsylvania, where officials swear elections are safe and secure, three officials are headed to prison after admitting they cheated in 2021 election. Their cases reveal common vulnerabilities in the voting process that they have yet to be cured. The three men who all at one time were elected Democrat members of the Melbourne Borough Council tried to rig the mayoral election in favor of one of them. They failed by 30 votes, got caught, and in June, each was sentenced to prison. Among the charges were conspiracy to commit voter fraud, giving false information and registering to vote, and fraudulent voter registration. So, again, this is what we have here to where, oh, we don't cheat, we're not violating any laws or whatever, yet we knew, and what Trump was saying is that the 2021 election was rigged. Now, this might have actually worked in our favor because we got a more tougher, or more serious, or more, I'm going to blow into your hole type Trump than we would have probably gotten in 2021, right? So that being said, it was cheated on. This was a huge problem. We had huge voter fraud, and Democrats are at top of their game here. They have definitely rigged the election in 2020 and 2021, and I am not going to say that they did not do this because there's too much ample evidence of this going on to where they have. So you can't go out and say that they didn't. We have this here. MD Nur Hassan, 48, was sentenced to 36 months, 3 years in prison. MD Mansour Ali, 48, was sentenced to 21 months in prison, 1 year of supervised release, and must pay $2,500. And it goes on to say MD Rafiqul Islam, 52, received 12 months and 1 day in prison, according to a statement from the U.S. Department of Justice. Now, guys, call me crazy, but these guys sound like they have very, very Muslim names. Straight up, they just sound like they have straight up just Muslim names. And it makes me wonder if these people were even remotely actual legal immigrants or they were imported or whatever. Because we're not seeing a lot of people that were doing this in terms of being of any other race, and that now that we have three people of three different races, all of them being ironically sounding Muslim, I'm kind of concerned on how this is a thing, right? Like, how did we get to this point to where we have foreigners coming into our country? Now, this is obviously alleged. I am saying that this is a possibility that they could be Muslim. They could not be Muslim, and they just have these Muslim-sounding names, which is going to be weird if that was the case. So mostly true on the Muslim thing, but them being illegal or not be or foreigners or what have you, that is up to discretion, right? That is up to debate. Like, we don't know, but I'm making an assumption here because it's quite odd that these people were the ones being caught doing this. It says the men all pleaded guilty on April 1st. At that time, Hassan and Ali were sitting on the Melbourne Council board. On May 13th, Hassan resigned from the board and the council appointed someone to fill his term, ending December 31st, 2027. Astonishingly, Ali has not yet resigned, Melbourne Borough Manager William Stewart confirmed to the Federalist. A felony conviction makes Ali ineligible to hold public office, but his seat will only be vacated if he resigns and the council accepts his resignation, or is even impeached by the district attorney or attorney general, or a judge rules in favor of a petitioner who challenges the individual's eligibility to hold office. His term ends on December 31st, 2025. Ali can theoretically ride out his term in absentia unless one of the three previously mentioned actions is taken. Stewart wrote in an email. Melbourne population 1,300 is part of the Philadelphia metro area, a mere zero point 0.1 square mile, about 8 blocks long. As I previously reported in the 2021 election, Ali won the Democrat primary in May and advanced to the November ballot. Islam lost in the primary, and Hassan narrowly lost his primary 138 to 120. Hassan decided to run a write-in campaign for mayor in the general election. Islam and Ali agreed to help. Using identification information from people living out of town, the men swapped voter registration addresses to Melbourne using Pennsylvania's online portal for voter registration. They then electronically requested mail-in ballots, had them sent to mailboxes they could access, filled out the ballots, signed the outer envelope with the name of the bogus voter, and dropped them off at the Delaware County Board of Elections. In some cases, they took the ID information from people they did not know. They also asked non-residents to register to vote in Melbourne and cast mail-in ballots for Hassan to be a mayor. Hassan and Ali persuaded many of their non-Melbourne friends and acquaintances to provide them with personal identification information so that defendants Hassan and Ali could register them to vote in Melbourne. The DOJ statement said, during many of these conversations, Hassan and Ali told their non-Melbourne friends and acquaintances that they would not get in trouble as long as they did not vote in another election in November 2021. They should actually have all their rights and abilities to vote vacated, and they should go to jail. And then after they go to jail, we should do an investigation on whether or not they are actual legal immigrants or illegals in this country. And if they are illegal or what have you, then kick them out. This is the problem that I have with this, right? Is that we have these laws to where these people can come into our country, become actual mayors, governors, etc., and then just running things up for going through. No, I think that to be a mayor, to be a governor, to be in any actual political sphere at all, you need to be born in America. We just need to make that 100% because you have to be born in America in order to become president in this country. Why are we allowing people that are from foreign countries to be able to, even if they got their citizenship, are able to run for mayor, and all this other stuff in our country? That is asinine to me. I think that every position should be held for, you have to be born in this country in order to be and have citizenship to be able to be any type of political figure in this country. Because this is what we're having here. We're having foreigners come into our country and make rules that are that it's not the best interest of the American people. So that's what I have a problem here. I think we need to reshape our laws and how these things work, and even at the lower stages of political of our political government, because obviously this is something that should not stand at all. Period. The scheme highlights how easily electronic voter registration and ballot requests, drop-off boxes, signatures, photo identification, and in-person voting each have a role in allowing or preventing election fraud. If they had been forced to vote in person and verify their address with a photo ID, this cheating would not have happened. Exactly. And that's the reason why Democrats don't want voter ID. They don't want signatures. They want mail-in ballots because it's way easier for Democrats and other people to cheat with mail-in ballots and make them be able to cheat the election, to cheat their votes. That's the reason why Democrats want mail-in ballots and all these things. And if we remove that and we made it to where you need to show up in person, you need photo identification, you need signatures, you need all these things to make sure that you can vote correctly, we would less have these problems. But since we always go off electronically and all this other stuff, it is a massive problem, and it's the reason why we have a huge issue. Hopefully Trump can fix this and make where voter identification and all this stuff being mandatory in this country, so that way we can avoid this type of situation from happening in general. And if people are breaking this and not allowing this, then they need to be arrested immediately. These defendants sabotaged the democratic will of their fellow citizens in deciding Melbourne's next mayor, said U.S. Attorney David Metcalf in a statement. Public trust in the electoral process is critical. And my office is committed to ensuring that our elections remain free and fair. As this case shows, should we find instances of fraud, we won't hesitate to prosecute those responsible. We have this here as well, with this being the actual justice.gov. Now they do go in a little bit more in depth here, but we're only going to talk about a little bit of this. I'm going to talk about this first line here, and then I'm just going to go down to all the way at the end here. So it says in February of this year, the defendant and co-conspirators, MD Nurul Hassan and MD Rafkil Azam, 52, also of Melbourne, were charged in 33 counts of indictments with a conspiracy to commit voter fraud, giving false information in registering to vote, and fraudulent voter registration arising from their scheme, ultimately unsuccessful, to steal Melbourne Borough's 2021 mayoral election for Hassan. Goes on to say here that in total, the defendants conspired to falsely register nearly 36 non-Melbourne residents as Melbourne voters and cast ballots for those on Melbourne residents in the 2021 general election for mayor of Melbourne Borough. Hassan went on to lose the election by a vote of approximately 165 to 138. These defendants sabotaged the democratic will of their fellow citizens in deciding Melbourne's next mayor, said U.S. Attorney Metcalf. Public trust in the electoral process is critical, like blah, 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 all that stuff. So, yeah, like I said, Democrats don't care about democracy, because if they cared about democracy, they wouldn't be doing this. And this is kind of the reality that we're going through, right? We have to stop these Democrats from being involved. And I'm also going to say that, like, this in general, what we have to do is arrest these people. I'm not very keen of Trump just being kind of lax on this. I think Trump needs to arrest every single person that's committing fraud and attacking ICE agents, even government officials, because these people need to be held accountable. I am so sick and tired of these government officials, these people not being arrested. Like, yeah, Trump, it may make you look bad, but I don't care. We need law and order in this country, and this needs to happen. I'm glad that these people were arrested, but there's so much more that's going on that these people haven't been arrested, and it just needs to happen. I mean, even when we go down to the Portland woman, to where she was being harassed by Antifa, well, guess what? That doesn't really matter, because the police aren't doing anything to solve the problem. And she's going more towards the right now, because obviously the left are unhinged. But I digress. I think we need to be way more harsh on our laws and way more forceful in what we do to arrest these people, because if we don't, it just won't stop. All right, guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.